Hi everybody! Welcome to day 3 of Down on the Farm. Thank you for joining me. And today's the day we're going to finish our amazing painting. We're doing the background. Now lots of times we do these incredible drawings and then sometimes we lose them when we color them in. But we didn't. We kept our drawing and they look awesome. And now lots of times when you do your favorite part, which is the main subject, sometimes people lose interest and they don't finish the background. The background's so important, so we're going to finish it today and give it all the attention it deserves. To do our background, we're going to need all of our blues from our crayon box, and we're going to need all of our greens from our crayon box. We're also going to focus on our zigzag line, and we're going to focus on this thing called crosshatching. Now this is a really big example of crosshatching, but it's when you hatch in one direction, and then you cross it by hatching in the opposite direction. You can use this to add shading, depth, value, all these wonderful things. But what we're doing is we're going to use it to color in space. All right, so let's start with the grass. Now you can really pick any crayon that you want to, but what's most important with this is that we're going to do the whisper line. The whisper line is how you would talk in a room to someone who you're whispering to, right? The normal line is how I'm talking to you now. This is normal value. And then you can shout to someone, which would be like the really dark line. We want a whisper line. We want a line that's there, but not really there. It's a whisper. So I'm going to take my medium green. It says yellow green. And I'm going to start by doing my foreground. I have 3 layers here. This is my foreground, this is my middle ground, and then all the way in the back, it's my background. So I'm going to start my foreground. And I'm going to do a whisper line, and it's a coil. So yes, we also need our coil line. For the grass, we're going to coil it in exactly the way that we did our chicken. And I'm going to coil in my foreground more. Now, if you're afraid that you're going to bump into your chicken, even though it has this beautiful crayon around it, you can outline it again. But I'm just going to go slow and steady. If I actually hold my crayon back a little more, it allows me to move my whole arm instead of just my hand, and then I can cover the space more. And that's pinching it. So I have it flat down here, and I'm pinching it, and I'm coloring the whole thing. You can just color that with me right now. We're doing it together. And if you can see, it's very, very light. This right here would be a shouting line, a dark line, a yelling line, but I want that whisper line. So everyone help me whisper. I'm going right over this spot right here that I messed up. I'm just going to whisper my line right on top, and I'm just not going to give any attention to it. Coil, coil, coil. When I move my whole arm like that, I'm doing big coils. If I want to do a really small area, I'm going to change the way I hold my pencil. I want to do small coils. When I'm covering this large space, I can do bigger coils. And as I'm doing this, I see that there's still a lot of white space in there. That's fine. It's okay, because I'm going to do a second layer. Okay. So now I'm going to take my dark crayon. And this is what I'm going to incorporate, that zigzag that looks like the letter V. All right, here I go. So I'm going to start, let's start in the background. Okay. So I'm going to do V and do a couple on the inside. Zigzag, 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 zigzag. And I'm going to start overlapping them, because I want my chicken roaming in a field with lots of grass and lots of bugs, especially because some of those hens eat ticks, and I'm not a fan of ticks. I'm going to bump into my chicken, but I'm not going to draw on my chicken, and I'm going to go around. Zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. And as I get further down, I can make them bigger. Go over here. And we're just going to zigzag all the way down. It kind of looks like a W a little bit. I guess if I'm making a W, that does kind of work, doesn't it? Oh, my hand is tired because when I make a harder mark, it exhausts your hands a little more because you're holding it tighter. So if you're tired, just give it a shake. And we're going to pick it up again. Zigzags. The drawing my daughter made of me. Right in between those chickens' toes. And I'm going to go right over to here where I did some dark lines. And I'm going to keep it going. I'm going to cover this whole space. When my hand gets tired, I'm just going to give it a shake. And then I'm going to keep going. Ooh, this is a big one. Now I'm going right over to where I messed up, and I'm just going to cover it up as if it never happened. All right, now I have all these beautiful grass strands coming up. I think it's wonderful. I'm going to add more depth. So I'm going to take my yellow green, and I'm going to add some more. Not everywhere, but just in some areas, just for some variation in the color. Because my favorite part of crayons is adding layers of color. All right, there you go. All right, now for the next area in our middle ground, I'm going to try to make everything even lighter. So I'm going to take my yellow-green again, and I'm going to try to whisper even softer quill lines. Even softer. You can hold it way further back and just go softer. And now this time with my green crayon, I'm going to make grass, but I'm not going to push down as hard. I'm not going to do these shouting lines. I'm going to do more of a nice, softer voice. Not quite a whisper, but a softer voice. So here I go. Zigzag, zigzag, zigzag. I like how it looks like a W when you look at each one individually. I think that's kind of neat. I love how you can look at art and you can find things like letters as well as shapes and lines. Okay, that one didn't take as long. Now I'm going to do my background. Now my background is so far away that eventually it's just going to totally blend into the sky that it's in. So it gets really light. So this time I'm going to take my yellow green, the one that almost looks yellow, but it doesn't quite look yellow because it looks green too. And I'm going to do the softest whisper voice I can possibly do back there. It's right over where I messed up before. I'm just going to act like it doesn't matter. And now I'm going to take my yellow green, my darker yellow green, and I'm going to do whisper, whisper, whisper zigzag lines. All in the back. I don't have to do each one as detailed as I did the foreground because this is so far in the distance we can barely make out the detail. And you know what? That seems a little yellowy to me, so I'm going to take my regular green and I'm going to do just a little bit of whisper lines back there too. The more we overlap crayons, the more exciting crayons look. And that's our grass. That's our landscape anyway. And now let's work on the sky. So I want you to take your favorite blue. You can test it on the back. You could test it in the corner. Or you could just randomly pick up one. Doesn't matter. And I would like for you to start going around your clouds first. So I'm going to go around everywhere I made a curve. And I'm going to outline it with my color. Oh, I forgot I put a sun in there. We're going to need yellow. And now I'm going to cross hatch in one direction. This is hatch when you put in one direction. And now I'm going to cross it in the next. Just make it very, very light because we want our clouds to mostly stay white, but we want to show that there's a lot of reflection going on in the clouds. And on the back end of my curve is where I'm going to put some cross hatching. And I can skip some curves. Or I can do every single one of them. It just depends what you want to do. And now I'm going to do my little cloud. I'm going to outline it. You go over all my pencil lines. Remember, we don't want to see pencil lines at the end. We want to get rid of all of those guidelines that we use by driving on them. And then I'm going to crosshatch. You can skip a couple if you want to, because you're the artist. You can do what you want. All right, now I'm going to do this one up in the corner. Driving on my lines, and now I'm going to crosshatch. All right, and there we have it. Those are our beautiful clouds. It's just enough color, but we don't want too much because now we have to do our sky. Now, I'm going to keep the same color crayon. Don't change color blues yet because we want these clouds to look like they belong in this sky. So we're just going to crosshatch very gentle, soft whisper lines in the background. So by crosshatching, I'm going to go up, I'm going to go back and forth. If I have my crayon further back, I can actually make these nice motions back and forth. If it's really far up here, it's going to be really hard on my hand, okay? So I'm just going to go back and forth. Be very careful not to drive on top of your chicken. You want to go around. And right now I'm just hatching. Hatching, hatching, hatching. And then I'm going to get to a stop and I'm going to stop. And now I'm going to crosshatch it. When I get to areas where I don't want to go on top of my chicken, I've got to go right in between. Very carefully. All right, and once I catch up, then I'm going to start hatching again. I'm going to go around my sun. I totally forgot I had a sun in the sky when I started. And now I'm getting into a really big area, so I have a couple choices to make. I can keep some lines small, or I can try to go really big. I prefer to keep some lines small because I can control my art that way a little better. Go right up to my horizon line. Now lots of people only do blue skies at the top. Remember, the blue sky hits the horizon line. They touch. So bring your blue sky all the way down. You go right over those lines and act like that brown crayon isn't even there because it's not going to destroy my art. And I'm crosshatching now. I'm making it shorter around here. And there we have it. Now, if you want to add in another color, you do not have to, but if you want to add in another color, you can. So now I'm going to pick up another blue, and maybe in some areas, I'm going to put it in, and that's a way darker blue, so I have a choice. I can think, I love that, I'm going to do more of it, or I can think, definitely don't like it, not doing any more, and I'll just stop. Okay? Now, everybody pick up that yellow if you have a sun. The first thing we have to do is drive on our line, so everybody take your line for a drive. And this is not going to be a whisper line because our sun is bright and beautiful, and it lights up our whole world. So do really dark lines for your sun. But we are still cross-hatching it. So I'm going to go in one direction. And then I'm going to cross. All right, now if you want to add some more depth to your sun, I'm going to take a little orange, and very lightly I'm going to put some orange on top. I'm going to hatch it on top, and I'm going to crosshatch it. Our sun has all those beautiful warm colors in it. And then when you get to a point where you're done, I just want you to look at it for a minute, and then we can do some editing. So right in here I have some holes in my sky. There are no holes in the sky. Maybe I want to add some darker blue into the corners of my clouds. Editing is always the best part, where you decide that it's finished. And I'm pretty happy with mine. I hope you're happy with yours too. Thank you for making art with me. I'm going to post another video next week, and I can't wait to make art with you again. Take care. Bye.